All right, so it's been a while since I've posted an update on my adventures on the 2017 Trek Farley EX 9.8 fat bike. If you'll remember, this is a 27.5 wheeled fat bike. Not a lot of these in production. Trek is making them. I honestly don't know what other manufacturer is doing 27.5 650B fat bikes, and by that I mean tires of 3.8 inches or wider. This is a little bit of a Franken bike at the moment. I'm between seasons, and what I mean by that is the reason why I'm posting a couple of updates. So it's March 13th, 2017, and so the setting for this is pretty perfect because propped, leaning against what I've got the Farley leaning against is my trusty Ariens snowblower, and over here I got a bunch of snow shovels. And the reason for that is we're bracing for Stella, the nor'easter that's about to hit us on Tuesday and rage throughout the day. So we're ready. I've got my fuel, I've got the bike to ride after I've plowed, and so we're ready for what's coming. But yeah, so in terms of the updates, there's a couple of things. So some of you may remember that I've blown one Freehub on the rear. These are Bontrager hubs. I don't know, who makes the guts. I don't know if it's Bontrager's own design, or if they use somebody else's hubs and then rebrand as theirs. But so I blew one Freehub body by shearing off all three pawls and got it fixed up. Trek came to the rescue, did a warranty repair. Turned out we needed to replace the spokes, so there's a little bit of a rebuild, some rebuild work there. I also had, because at the time I was running a Bontrager Barbigazzi 27.5 by 4.5 big fat rubber on the rear as well. You'll see now that the other part of the update is I'm running a Minion FBR fat bike rear, I suppose, supposed to be like the DHR. This is a 27.5 by 3.8 120 120 TPI. It's running on the stock rims, which is a carbon Wampa 27.5, tubeless ready, 80 millimeters wide. The real story here is that I actually flatted the rear Bontrager Barbigazzi, so I had them matched. I was running 4.5 front and rear, and I flatted on a ride. I was admittedly running too low a pressure. I think I was down to 4 3/4 pounds. The problem with that was we were in mixed settings, so there was some snow that was sort of corn-like, inconsistent, corn kernel-like, and loose and breaking apart, and then there were parts that were completely bare and riding on rough ground, and I just hit a root wrong, and I pinch flatted the rear. When I went to do the replacement, we're coming into spring, so it's March now, and I decided to just go ahead and replace it. I can patch the Barbigazzi. It's I'll put a Park tire boot on the inside and take care of that, and I'll just run it. I'll run it as a spare when I need to do it. But what I did instead was, now I'm running the Minion, because when we get into 3-season riding in the spring, summer, and fall, a 3.8 is going to be more than enough to get rowdy and to get the traction that I'm looking for out of this 120 front, 120 rear fat bike, and it should shred pretty well. I'm looking forward to getting this thing out. I am, in retrospect, just going to keep the front on there for now. Cost is a concern. You're talking about $75 to $90, maybe a little bit more, to do the Maxxis FBF and FBR. That's individual tire prices, and I'm really okay with this. Partly because, and I know a lot of purists won't like this, but The front end is jacked up even just a little bit more. There's just a little bit more pseudo head angle that I get out of this. Just gives me a little bit more slack on the front. I don't really know calculated how much. Is it between 1/4 and 1/2 degree? I don't know, it could be more. All I know is this, in a way to exaggerate it is to say that it rides a little bit like a chopper. The front end is relatively raked out compared to the rear, so it has that slacked out feel when I'm on it and riding trail, and especially when I'm descending, so that feels good. Rollers, we get a lot of steep, tight rollers around here. This is northeast coast in New England riding, and you get these steep rollers and a little bit of a raised front end, a little bit of a slacker front end gives me a little bit more runway. You know what? I'll get the FBF on there as soon as I run out the 4.5, the Barbagazzi on the front. But for now that's pretty good. But the other news is I did blow up my second rear Freehub body, and I'll try to cut in some pictures of some photos I took at the shop of the hub that's going back. So good guys that they are, Trek, standing by their warranty, couldn't get me a replacement wheel, couldn't get me a replacement Freehub bodies. Lots of back order going on at the moment, so that everything's back ordered. And so what they did on they basically ponied up for one of these bad boys, and these things are awesome. So this is a DT Swiss 350 hub. This is the Big Ride hub shell, intended for fat bikes. This thing is solid. So the difference, I don't want, I love my bike shop, but I don't want to have to go back there for the same problem. And what we've got going on here is it's the DT Swiss internals include a ratchet system and as it's been described to me, and a pawl system. So there's a lot of mechanics going on inside these things, and hopefully I just won't have the same failure that I had on the Bontrager rear hub that was on there. I run DT350s on 2 of my bikes, and I run DT240s on 2 others, and I just have to say, knock on wood, I haven't blown up a DT hub yet. And when I was talking to my mechanic Hans over at Biker's Edge in Bristol, Connecticut, he says he just doesn't see them. They just don't, they don't come in. They're really that good, and the price is, the DT350s price is reasonable. You get up to the 240s, the 240S, and that's a little bit pricier, a little bit lighter, a little bit pricier. In any case, so I'll cut in some pictures of the Freehub. You can see what the pawls look like. One of them is sheared off. So on the first set, I sheared off all 3. On the second one, I heard a pop. It sounded familiar. I got off and walked my bike. Noticed that the freewheel was locked up. So I carried the bike out, and when Hans took it all apart, he found that there were 2 were intact, 2 pawls. P-A-W-L-S, 2 pawls of the 3 were intact, and 1 was sheared, and so that spells that's pretty much the end of the transmission at that point. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. I did, when the wheel was rebuilt with the hub, I did have the rear wheel recentered. When I ran the 4.5, I had to have the wheel dished ever so slightly to the non-drive side, to the left side, but in the rebuild we had it dished back dead center, because the 3.8 doesn't have any clearance issues. In the winter, next winter, when I go back to a 4.5, which I'll probably slap back on, just because it really is that great for float around here in snow, I'll have him pull the dish off to the left just so slightly. It's a minor inconvenience, but to be able to run 4.5s on this big rig is really something. I'm glad I can do it. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.